Ever wondered why having too many choices can sometimes make you anxious rather than happy? It's an oddity, isn't it? In a world where abundance is often equated with happiness, a surplus of options can actually lead to uneasiness. We're going to peel back the layers on this conundrum, exploring the paradoxical relationship between choice and anxiety. So buckle up, because we're about to journey into the fascinating realm of decision-making psychology. Let's delve into the intriguing concept of the paradox of choice. To unravel this mystery, we need to understand the psychology behind our choices. The human mind is an intricate labyrinth, with decisions being influenced by a multitude of factors. Cognitive biases, for instance, can significantly sway our choices. These are systematic errors in thinking that affect the decisions and judgments that people make. Some of these biases work by making us overvalue the benefits of changing the status quo, while others make us undervalue them. Take the confirmation bias, for instance. This is our tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms our pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses. It's like having blinkers on, making us blind to alternative perspectives and choices. Then there's the anchoring bias. This is our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we encounter, the so-called anchor, when making decisions. It can lead to poor choices, as it prevents us from fully considering other options. The illusion of control also plays a pivotal role in the paradox of choice. This is our tendency to overestimate our ability to control events. It can lead us to believe that we have more choices than we actually do, which can result in decision fatigue and the paradox of choice. We're left feeling overwhelmed, anxious, and ultimately, unhappy. Another facet of the psychology of choice is the concept of loss aversion. We are more upset about losing something than we are happy about gaining something of similar value. This fear of loss can paralyze us, making it difficult to make a decision for fear of making the wrong one. So, the paradox of choice isn't simply about having too many options, it's about how our minds interpret and react to these options. It's about how our cognitive biases and illusions of control steer us towards certain decisions and away from others. They can lead us to feel overwhelmed, stuck, and dissatisfied, even when we have a world of choices at our fingertips. So, it turns out that our brains are not always our best allies when it comes to making choices. The paradox of choice is a concept that challenges our traditional understanding of choice. Often we assume that more choices mean more freedom, more satisfaction, and a better life. But is that really the case? Let's delve deeper into this paradox. Imagine you're standing in an aisle at the supermarket. You're surrounded by hundreds of different types of cereal. They all promise different benefits. Some are low in sugar, others high in fiber, some with added vitamins, others with exotic fruits. Now you just wanted a simple breakfast option, but suddenly you find yourself stressed, confused, paralyzed even, by this abundance of choices. This, my friends, is the paradox of choice in action. The paradox of choice is a psychological concept developed by American psychologist Barry Schwartz. It suggests that while choice is generally a good thing, an overabundance of options can instead lead to stress, anxiety, and even decision paralysis. It challenges the conventional wisdom that more choice equals more freedom and subsequently, more happiness. When we're presented with a multitude of options, we tend to worry about making the wrong choice. We fear regret, we fear missing out, and we fear the disappointment of not making the perfect choice. It's this anxiety and fear that can lead to decision paralysis. We're so overwhelmed by the options that we end up not making a choice at all. Moreover, even when we do finally make a choice, we're often less satisfied with our decision. Why? Because with so many alternatives, it's easy to imagine that one of the options we didn't choose could have been better. We compare our choice to the ideal hypothetical choice that we didn't make, leading to dissatisfaction and regret. Also, having more choices demands more time and effort to make an informed decision. This can further add to stress, especially in our fast-paced world where time is a scarce resource. Now, it's important to note that the paradox of choice doesn't mean that choice is bad. Choice is essential for freedom and autonomy. But what this concept highlights is that there can be too much of a good thing. It's about finding a balance, a middle ground between too few and too many choices. In conclusion, the paradox of choice is a powerful concept that challenges the way we think about freedom and happiness. It reminds us that while choice is essential, an overabundance of options can lead to decision paralysis and anxiety, and ultimately, less satisfaction. It's a reminder that in our quest for the perfect choice, we may end up losing sight of what truly matters, being content with our decisions and appreciating the choices we make. The paradox of choice shows us that more is not always better. It's a call to simplify, to reduce the noise, and to focus on what truly matters to us, because sometimes less really is more. Now that we understand the theory, let's look at some real-life examples of the paradox of choice. Imagine a trip to your local supermarket. You're simply looking for a bottle of ketchup. But instead of one or two options, you're presented with a wall of choices: spicy, sweet, tangy, organic, low sodium, no sugar, classic, gourmet, the list goes on. Suddenly, a simple task becomes an overwhelming decision. This is the paradox of choice in action. Let's delve a bit deeper. Picture yourself at a restaurant, presented with a menu that's more like a novel than a list of dishes. Pages upon pages of appetizers, entrees, desserts, and drinks. The sheer number of choices can make it incredibly difficult to decide what to order. You might even find yourself wishing for a shorter menu. Again, this is the paradox of choice. Now think about your favorite online streaming platform. With thousands of movies and TV shows at your fingertips, you'd think it would be easy to find something to watch. Yet how often do you find yourself scrolling aimlessly, unable to make a decision? This is another prime example of the paradox of choice. The abundance of options can lead to anxiety, indecision, and dissatisfaction. Now consider a more personal example. Have you ever struggled to make a decision about your career path? With so many potential careers to choose from, it can feel paralyzing to pick just one. This too is the paradox of choice. The paradox of choice doesn't only affect our decision-making, but it can also impact our overall happiness and satisfaction. When we're faced with too many choices, we may find ourselves second-guessing our decisions, wondering if we made the right choice, or if one of the other options would have been better. This can lead to regret, dissatisfaction, and a decreased sense of happiness. The paradox of choice is not just an abstract concept discussed in psychology textbooks. It's a real phenomenon that affects our everyday lives. From the supermarket to the restaurant, from the streaming platform to our career choices, the paradox of choice is everywhere. As you can see, the paradox of choice is more common in our lives than we might think. Let's summarize what we've learned about the paradox of choice. We've journeyed deep into the web of decision-making, understanding how an abundance of choices, something we often perceive as freedom, can paradoxically lead to anxiety and dissatisfaction. We started off by posing a paradoxical question. Does having more choices make us happier? On the surface, it would seem that the answer is a resounding yes. We love the freedom to choose, the power to pick, and the liberty to decide. But as we delved deeper, we discovered that our minds are not always equipped to handle the superabundance of options we are faced with in today's world. We took a detour into the realm of psychology to understand the mechanics behind our choices. We learned about the concept of decision fatigue and how it shows us that our mental resources are finite. Just like a muscle, our decision-making capacity can get exhausted with overuse. This can lead to poorer choices or even decision paralysis, where we are unable to make a choice at all. We then explored the paradox of choice in action, through real-life examples. We looked at how having too many options, in areas as diverse as shopping for jeans or choosing a career, can lead to stress, anxiety, and sometimes even a sense of failure. The pressure to make the perfect choice can be overwhelming when the options are endless. In essence, the paradox of choice highlights a profound truth about human nature. While we crave choices, too many options can leave us feeling anxious and dissatisfied. It's like being a kid in a candy store, but the store is endless and the candy jars are infinite. The freedom that was once exhilarating can quickly become oppressive. So, as we navigate the sea of choices our modern world presents us with, let's bear in mind this paradox. Let's remember that sometimes having fewer options can actually lead to a more satisfying decision, because as we've seen, the beauty of choice lies in its quality, not in its quantity. Remember, when it comes to choices, sometimes less is more.